Well, good afternoon, Angela. Thanks very much for joining us here on the FIVA stand. Now, I understand you've done some pretty interesting things in classic cars. I heard a rumour that you drove to Angoulême in an AC Ace. Is that correct?
Yes, my AC Rudspeed Ace, because it was his car originally, a test car. And I used to like to go, I do like to go down to Angoulême. So I drove from Horsley to Angoulême in 7.5 hours without stopping. Fortunately, it wasn't wet.
Yeah, with a very low windscreen, and must be very windy with obviously no roof or anything.
It's got no weather gear at all. Windscreen's about 4 inches, and it's got holes in the floor though, so when it rains, theoretically the water can rain out the bottom.
So I think you were saying you haven't raced at Goodwood, but you have done sprints here. So what sort of cars have you driven here in sprints?
Just the AC. The Ace, really the only race car I've got. So I've driven the Morgan here on track days and things, but I haven't taken that because it's too modern. It's not of interest. But no, the Ace I've done sprints. I've done Shelsley Walsh Hill Climb a couple of times competitively. I just enjoyed driving the Ace. And we did the Mille Mile as well in the Ace.
I was going to ask you, so that was also in the Ace, so that must have been absolutely top of your competitive CV then, doing the Mille Miglia.
Yeah, so I didn't really know what it was. I was told about 9 months before that it would be a good idea if I entered, and I had a look at it, and I saw the average speed was about 40, and I thought, yeah, that's all right. So entered, and we got in straight away. Car got in, and there was 9,000 entries that year. Apparently, I read afterwards. So got in, and the target was to actually complete the course. But unlike most of the others, if not all the other entries, we had no backup. Everything was in the Ace, and I did it with Steve Gray. So he prepared the car, and he drove it most of the way, and I navigated, because I think I'm a bit better at navigating than he is. He's better at driving. And so the objective was to finish it, and which we did, which was quite interesting because there was a very nice German guy with an AC Ace and 2 backup vehicles who said, if anything goes wrong, let us know, because we've probably got the part you need, and he gave us a number. He broke down and didn't finish. So it was quite amusing.
Well, it's a nice story about the camaraderie within historic motorsport. You can't imagine anybody making a similar offer in contemporary motorsport, would you?
Sorry, I didn't hear all you said.
I was saying it was a nice gesture, but it probably exists only within historic motorsport. In contemporary motorsport, you can't imagine competitors helping each other out in that way.
No, I think a lot of them would have helped if there was a problem. It certainly seemed that way, but not all of them. 1 or 2 noticeably, and actually it was mainly the females, few females that were not at all helpful.
Oh, well, at least there were female competitors though, so it is. Were there a number then competing females? It's
not that many, but it's difficult to say without actually going through the list. But I would say there were probably about 10 female crews. There weren't that many.
So do you have any ambitions in Angela? What would you realistically like to do in the next couple of years in historic motorsport?
Probably go back to hill climbs. Shelsley I particularly like. The car needs to be adjusted because the gear ratios are completely wrong, back axle's wrong. It's not at all competitive, so I need to sort that. And it's a nice car to drive. I'd just like to do some rallies on it. I'm not really worried about whether it's competitive or not. I just want to get the car out and use it, because so far I've driven the car in hail, snow, rain, torrential rain, and blazing sun, so there's not much I haven't driven that car in.
So a lot of initiatives these days to try to get more women into motorsport, but you're by the sounds of things, you're a bit of a trailblazer and a bit of a role model for some of them.
Not particularly. I think you've just got to like doing it, haven't you? If you want to do it, you've got to have the car, because if I didn't have the car I wouldn't be interested in doing it. So
well, thanks very much for sharing your thoughts, Angela, and for your support for FIVA this weekend at the Revival. Very nice talking to you.